Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. So I recently watched Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis, and I'll be honest, walking out of the movie, I myself wasn't sure how I felt about it. But after giving it some thought and seeing the flood of negative reviews, I've come to a conclusion. Despite its flaws, Megalopolis is a film you absolutely need to see. Here's why. One of the main reasons we're seeing so much negative feedback on this film is because it hasn't been marketed the right way. Even though it says right on the poster of the movie that Megalopolis is a fable, people are still going to theaters expecting a drama. But Megalopolis isn't a drama, it's a fable, a fairy tale. And the point I want to make is that understanding this fact will make a significant difference in how you perceive it. Take Cinderella, for example. A poor girl turns into a princess through magic. Now that's a fairy tale. There's no complex emotional journey there, it's about kindness and justice and a clear moral lesson. But in a drama like The Godfather, for example, which is also directed by Coppola, character changes are driven by deep emotions and tough decisions, and also societal pressures. And instead of a simple moral lesson, it shows us how power corrupts. These differences in storytelling shape how we expect this story to unfold, and as a consequence, how we connect with it emotionally. Now, if you've enjoyed both The Godfather and Cinderella, that's because you understood that each tells its story in a completely different way. You know not to expect realism from Cinderella, but if you did, you'd be disappointed, right? Fables and fairy tales have some distinctive characteristics. If we know anything about fairy tales, that's the fact that characters in the story lack the complexity that real people usually have. Instead, each character is a symbol, an archetype. What that means is that the conflicts happen between the characters, and rarely within them. We've seen this before with characters like Gandalf in The Lord of the Rings and Dumbledore in the Harry Potter series, who are both symbols of wisdom and knowledge in the fight of good against evil. They're not morally gray, and Megalopolis follows the exact same tradition. Caesar, for example, played by Adam Driver, embodies innovation and art and creativity. He's a modern Prometheus focused on the future over the present. On the other hand, we have Francis Cicero, played by Giancarlo Esposito. He's the mayor of New Rome, and he represents structure and conservatism. We also have Hamilton and Val Platinum, yes, that is her name, who are a personification of lust and greed. And finally, the character of Shia LaBeouf, Claudio, who is Caesar's cousin and rival. He's an agent of chaos who's motivated solely by personal gain. Even the world of Megalopolis has a touch of the fantastical. Statues move as if they're alive. The city of New Rome serves as a parallel to the events that led to the fall of ancient Rome, and also offers a solution for how modern America might avoid a similar fate. Coppola, a director that has movies like The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, and The Conversation on his resume, considers his Megalopolis to be his magnum opus. And what I want to say is that is something you need to consider. If Coppola, who gave us such cinematic masterpieces, thinks Megalopolis is his greatest work, I think you should see it at least once, especially if you're a cinephile. But why does Coppola consider this movie as his finest work? I believe it all comes down to the worries he has about modern society, and where we're headed as a civilization. The movie encapsulates his deepest concerns and highest hopes for humanity. In his own words,
"We are a genius species. We can't waste one another. We all have unique talent. There's not a problem that we face that we do not have the ability to solve." Someone has to say that, I feel. And that's what this film says.
With Megalopolis, Coppola aims to spark a conversation about these issues. He wants us to sit down and ask ourselves whether the society we live in is the only one available to us. Now, this movie has received a lot of bad reviews, and well, obviously it's not perfect, so I believe that I must address some of the criticism that I find to be constructive. For one, I think that Megalopolis suffers from having too many ideas in it. Naturally, when a director decides to explore more ideas, they can't go in depth about all of them, and that's what we see in parts of Megalopolis. In my opinion, a more focused approach, centering on a few key ideas, might have allowed the narrative to resonate more powerfully. Another area where I think the film can improve is the way Caesar presents his arguments. He's just too wise, too smart, and too perfect. In a lot of the scenes, I felt like Coppola was talking through Caesar and to us. It felt like the world had all these problems and this one genius had the solution to fix them all. And I know what I said about it being a fairy tale, but this makes the movie feel too preachy at times, and that's not really good since we don't watch films to be lectured. So, should you see Megalopolis? Well, ultimately that's up to you. I made this video to convince people to ignore the critics and go see the movie regardless. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't, I don't know, but if I wanted to describe the movie in one word, I'd say that it's interesting. And that to me is a good enough reason to go and see it, because I believe that although you may not like this kind of movie, we should always appreciate and welcome directors like Coppola that are willing to risk $120 million of their own money just so they can try something new. So with that, I will end this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.